Hey Anastasia, I hope you're very well. As promised, here is my review on what I see. So generally, it's like most other websites. It's super unclear. Obviously, Mashobane advisory services. It's not super clear. Nobody. I'm not sure unless you a specific target audience coming here. They're like, oh, advisory services. So I think there's needing to be a lot of clarity there. Obviously, somebody scrolls. The thing is, okay, so when someone gets to this is called above the fold. Most websites they load, and especially if you're just driving traffic, right? You'd want to just put there that specific. If we're driving traffic, you don't want to drive people necessarily just to your homepage unless your homepage is so niched out that that person immediately understands, oh, I wanted advisory services on the front end, or when I was searching for Google, so I was looking for secretarial services. That's going to be like something more specific, right? Or minute taking or something like that. And then they'll go to a page that's specifically about that and want to sign up or want to find out more. So here on the homepage, even though it's talking about the entire brand and everything that it encompasses, you'd want to have in these two lines, because this one's like super small. In this one here, you'd want to say what you do and why they should click the button. So there should be a button here also. I'll show you, and like I've got two other examples to show you. So just to give you an idea, I mean, if you got this "Let's Talk," that "Let's Talk" should be repeated throughout, right? So this is not a bad move having it here. It just should be different from the other text to make that, because that's what you want people to do. You want people to contact you and get in touch. So reach out and get in touch. So this would be a good idea. Also, having your details here where you have them is also not a bad idea. Um, okay, so then you got now legal and governance services, specialist B2B legal services, and then governance and compliance services. Yeah, so all those things need a lot of sort of fleshing out. But I think before this is like, it's really just about trying to get people to connect firstly to the problem that you solve and how you help them get to the next level of where they need to get to, right? So this, I think, is much better in terms of governance, advisory, meeting administration, legislative compliance, legal services. Okay, then I'd want to find out maybe more about those things. The part about the journey also is great. It's nice. I think, well, where we do it a little bit differently is that we do the story, even though it talks about our story, it talks about our story in the context of being able to solve our customer's problem. So, like, this is more like just around, this is not a foolproof way, but it's just things that I feel could be better, right? When we put the information for the customer to make a clear decision, and not sit and evaluate it too much, then I think that that tells us whether people want to be there or not. It's not, like I said, foolproof, but what it does do, it makes the money that you spend kind of will get clarity, right? Because if people don't stick around, and if they don't stick around, and then they don't stick around, and they don't click the button, then we know there's things that needs to be changed. And just then the monitoring of that via proper sources, because right now I can tell, for example, you do not have Facebook tracking on this, but like you said, you don't do that, but there's probably Google tracking on this. So let me actually check. Um, so I can't see any Google. It's definitely a WordPress website, but I can't see any Google. So, anyways, so then we get to connect with the team, which is really awesome. And yeah, and then this is great. I love this. I think this is perfect because it builds on the credibility. Plus, this is a good touch, right? I love it. I think it's brilliant. I think this, honestly, I would say this is what wins the most, and I would probably push this much further up on the website if I had to just move things around. But I would say, the credibility, this is a great credibility element. I think those things make sense. And then it's sort of the same thing right throughout. Now, let me just show you an example. Um, so, elderly care attorney helping seniors and families plan for the future. What we do or who we are, and then why you should care. Why you should click this button. Schedule a free consultation, right? So helping seniors and families plan their future. It's not so big, but it's clear. It brings that clarity. And then they do have their things still here, still open, still helping, whatever that means. But the main thing is that they're very clear just in terms of what they help people do. So they help people plan ahead, protect their assets, and these are the benefits. There was no benefits that we could see of working with you. Another thing, they also did, you know, when they're talking about the problem and they're talking, this is actually their about section. Is like, and I'm just want to read this to you quickly. So as we grow older, planning for future becomes increasingly important. And you see, this is an empathetic sort of standpoint, and it's authoritative because at the same time we understand the people's problem. As you navigate the complex waters of estate and retirement planning, social security and Medicare, healthcare directives, and long-term care, you'll need sound legal advice and representation from an attorney you can trust and put your best interests first. These are just some of those things that positions you. And that's the way I'm thinking of shifting that about us. Even though you said, that your about us wins, I would say move that more to the about us page, which I didn't see you have. And then just on the front page, you want to just create context for people, right? So then there's this, which you don't have, but I think is quite important, how you get started. So you request a meeting, you plan for your future, you live worry free. I mean, I think that's awesome. Now they start talking about all the different services. You see, and then they start building on that with the credibility. Who works with us? How do we work? And then the testimonials and things like that fall under. So it's these types of things. One more example. This is more of a coaching side because I see you also have a leadership or a training component. Again, it's leadership that matters. And what they do is they engage leaders' hearts and minds to transform your organization. Super, super clear. And one other thing is happy, smiling people, and that is a great little component, versus and people love, and well, as human beings we are attracted to the eyes, we are attracted to human beings. So and who you're selling to, even though it's business to business, like all the time, it's people that buy from you. So you want them to connect to what's easiest to them. This is great because it builds the authority right up front when it comes to the people that they work with. And they have the schedule now. Can you see this schedule call? And then it comes here into the middle. And that is because the eye forms a Z pattern, right? From the logo to the button, and it comes across like this down. So when they see that and then they see it repeated, it builds up familiarity. And this is also a great one. I mean, in today's fast-paced, complex world, the demands on leaders are greater than any time in the past. That is a big statement that when people read it and they start to get into about you, they see what you stand for. The mission and the vision is great, but wouldn't it be more important to just graphically explain to people what you stand for? So it's those types of things. So yeah, and then again, it's listing those attributes, and going into testimonials as you've got them. So this is basically the relook of how I would suggest we shift things around, and having your webinars a bit more prominent on the site, having them able to, for people to just connect with it. A simple idea just around like how we would track and watch the flow. So you'd have your Google AdWords and your Facebook, in your blog type content, or even if they're webinar driven, and then we write an article that's on a snippet of the thing, and then we drive that traffic that way. It would go to the home page. It would then, go to the specific pages that I mean, just look at these as placeholders, really. Specific pages that we're driving that traffic to and we're watching it. This is a tool that we'll both have access to, should you accept my proposals. And and then we driving them. Remember, I told you about that endpoint. So that free discovery call would have a calendar and then the booking confirmation. And this is that spot that I was talking about, that endpoint that we're tracking and we're watching. When people land on this, it tells us something. There's also, I mean, a little bit deeper into that when we actually leading customers to a specific page, and then with that we can actually build audiences based on those people that take those specific actions. So I hope that makes sense. Apologies for the long video. It's like almost 12 minutes now. I look forward to connecting with you. The link to this is in the proposal as well as this video. I wish you a splendid day, and I will talk to you very, very, very soon. Thank you.